You intentionally focus on generating a feeling of peace as your input.
Right.
And the output is a high-quality visual of that piece, which you can then use to literally decorate and reinforce a calm environment.
It's a powerful cycle of intentional emotional regulation.
Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the source material, the research, the internal notes, the big claims, and we really try to unpack them. We dig in and figure out what it all means for you. We're not just reading a summary here. We are looking for real, actionable insight.
And today's deep dive is, I think, incredibly relevant. I mean, it touches on so many things we're all dealing with. We're going to be dissecting this really intriguing concept where digital creation, mental wellness, and that constant struggle against distraction all intersect.
Right.
Main question we're trying to answer is this. Can a really focused, sort of guided creative process, that's what some people are calling 5 minutes of creative mindfulness, can that actually be a powerful tool?
A real tool for people who are struggling with, well, everything. Digital overload, anxiety, even those, paralyzing creative blocks.
Exactly.
And our sources for this are fascinating. They detail a platform. It's called Museit.art, which states, pretty explicitly, that its whole reason for being is to be a creative intervention. They're going right after the mechanisms of modern distraction. They're building their solution around concepts like dopamine detox, mindful scrolling, and the principles of art therapy.
So this is a piece of technology that is, from the ground up, designed to be therapeutic.
That's the claim.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting. We have to look past the shiny user interface and get right into the psychological architecture. The goal here is to figure out if this idea of rapid, structured creation can actually work as a genuine cognitive reset.
A reset, I like that.
Because if a 5-minute burst of creativity could actually reduce mental blocks and reliably shift you into a flow state, that's a profound insight.
It would be huge.
It would tell us a lot about how to manage our attention in the 21st century. And it suggests that even if you're someone who says, I'm not creative, you might have this incredibly powerful, super quick stress relief tool just sitting there waiting for you.
That really sets the stage perfectly, because before we even get to the solution Museit is proposing, they make this powerful observation about the problem itself, the baseline reality for most of us. They describe our world right now as loud, anxious, and overwhelming.
Which it is.
It's a state of constant cognitive overload, isn't it? Every phone, every tablet is just screaming for your attention. Every notification gives you that little spike of anxiety. And the sheer volume of it all it stops you from focusing on anything deeply.
That framing is so essential because it defines what they're fighting against.
Yeah.
The enemy isn't a lack of time.
Right.
It's that constant, overwhelming noise that just leads to decision fatigue and anxiety. So Museit sees creativity not as like a hobby.
Not a luxury.
Not at all. They see it as a lifeline, a necessary act of restoration. The sources are very clear on this. They claim that making something beautiful is, and I'm quoting here, one of the most powerful ways to quiet the mind, heal the spirit, and reconnect with yourself.
That's a big shift in thinking. It's positioning creation as self-care, not as a performance for other people.
Precisely.
And that really highlights why you'd need a targeted intervention like this. Because if creativity is the lifeline, well, the first hurdle for almost everyone is that internal fear, that blank canvas anxiety.
Oh, absolutely.
The second you open up some complex art software, you just stare at a blank piece of paper, all those mental roadblocks come flooding in. I can't draw. I'm not an artist. Or the one that kills everything.
I don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start. Exactly.
And that fear, it's not logical. It's an emotional block. It's a performance block that's rooted in, comparing yourself to others or remembering past failures. Real traditional creation requires skills that take years to master. Perspective shading, all of that. And your inner critic just loves to feast on that complexity.
Right.
So by acknowledging that people want the therapeutic side of creating, but they're held back by this fear of technical failure, Museit positions its entire platform as the answer to that specific psychological barrier.
It removes the barrier.
It has to. Because if the barrier stays high, if you have to spend an hour learning some complex new software, your brain will always choose the path of least resistance.
Which is passive consumption. Mindless scroll.
Mindless scrolling. The very thing that, actually makes that panic mode they're trying to solve even worse.
That is a crucial distinction. It's a system that's designed to take away the veto power that your inner critic has.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's move into part one. Museit's answer to that creative blockage. If anxiety is the wall, they say they've built the bridge.
Hmm.
And I think we need to spend some time on that metaphor, the bridge. This guide that's designed to take you from blank anxiety to beautiful expression.
The bridge is, well, it's designed structurally, but its impact is purely cognitive. The source material really emphasizes that the whole design is about removing technical barriers.
All of them.
Completely. Think about what a traditional digital artist needs. Brushes, software, and understanding of layers, filters.
It's a lot.
It's a huge amount to learn. Museit's bridge just bypasses all of that. You don't have to worry about learning AI or mastering a brush. And this is the key insight. It shifts your focus entirely. It allows you to concentrate purely on the feeling of creation.
So you're outsourcing the complexity.
You're outsourcing it to the machine, and that frees you up to just explore your own emotional intent. That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
It turns creating from this technical challenge into, what, an act of self-discovery.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
They call the platform a playground, specifically for people who have never felt that joy of seeing their imagination just appear instantly.
And that's a subtle but really powerful use of technology for an emotional problem. It gives you immediate proof of concept.
The proof is in the pudding.
It is. I had a vision, I gave it some simple input, and now it exists. And it's beautiful.
And that immediate proof is what breaks the cycle.
It has to be the critical leverage point psychologically. To break down that belief you've held for years that I am not creative, you need rapid, high-quality, positive evidence to the contrary. So the structure, this 5-step process, that is the therapy.
It's the method, it's structured play, and it's designed to maximize the reward and just absolutely minimize the cognitive load.
Okay, let's detail that 5-step process because this is where the genius of the simplification really shines.
Yeah.
They've managed to break down art creation into these non-intimidating high-reward steps, and it all works to prove that you are creative.
Let's start with step 1, establishing the starting point.
This is where they tackle that classic problem of the blank page. And this is where your first real expressive choice comes in, but it's purely aesthetic. It has nothing to do with technical skill.
You're just picking from a list.
A huge list. Dozens of mediums, oil paintings, digital art, watercolors, 3D renders, you name it. And the key instruction here is this anti-perfectionism mantra.
No wrong answers.
No wrong answers. And they encourage you to trust your instincts and pick what speaks to you.
Which is so different from traditional art.
Oh, completely. I mean, if you choose oil paints in the real world, you're dealing with drying times and toxic solvents and specific brush techniques.
It's a commitment.
A huge commitment. Here, the commitment is zero. It's just a preference, an emotional choice. And this allows you to explore aesthetics, which is pure creative intent, without having to pay any of the technical cost.
It's fast, there are no consequences, you're just exploring your own tastes.
Your inner world of taste, yeah.
So step 3 is where you provide the actual input. And this is maybe the most powerful part, cognitively. You answer simple questions.
Right. And you describe your vision using concepts that everyone understands. Colors, moods, subjects, styles.
So no jargon.
No technical terms needed. You don't have to talk about aspect ratios or diffusion weights. You just describe the feeling you're trying to create. And the technology does the work of translating that pure intent.
You know, that must be such a relief for an anxious mind. For a mind that's suffering from decision fatigue.
It is a profound relief. When your cognitive resources are just drained, being asked to figure out complex technical steps is overwhelming.
It's another wall.
It is. But being asked, what color is this feeling? Or what mood do you want to convey? That forces your brain to engage in this focused internal reflection.
This is the mindful scrolling they talk about.
This is the core of it. Instead of passively just taking in information, your brain is actively defining and organizing an internal desired outcome. You're channeling this vague emotional energy into specific words.
And that process of lining things up internally is very structured, very calming.
It is. And it ensures that tech understands what you want, no matter how much or how little experience you have.
Okay, so this shift from passive consumption to active, low-stakes definition, that's what starts to move you away from panic mode. But the whole thing depends on the reward. It has to be immediate.
It has to be.
Which brings us to step 4. Watch your art come to life. And the sources say the generation process usually takes just a minute or 2.
That quick turnaround is absolutely critical for the psychological feedback loop.
Why is that so important?
It's about immediate positive reinforcement. That's what you need to break a cycle of avoidance. if you had to wait 10 minutes or if there was some complex rendering process. Focused creative expression leads to instantaneous, beautiful success. And that instant payoff is what keeps the whole system rewarding and low anxiety.
And then finally, there's step 5, which is refine and perfect.
Yeah.
So you save it to your portfolio, but the platform encourages you to keep playing, to tweak it. Use tools to adjust colors, mood, style. You can even animate it or create variations. It's like it's saying, okay, you nailed the mood, now let's see what's next door.
And that refinement stage is actually a subtle form of education. You go from being a describer to being an active editor.
So you're learning without realizing you're learning.
You're learning the principles of artistic composition. What happens when you shift the hue slightly or change the texture. Just by playing and seeing these high-quality results, it encourages a growth mindset because experimenting is free, it's fast, and it's always rewarding.
There's no penalty for trying again.
None at all. There's only discovery.
This brings us to the specific pro tips that Museit provides. And they're less about technical settings and more about, well, cognitive management, how to get into that flow state.
They're essentially applying principles of cognitive behavioral therapy to the creative process. It's fascinating.
Okay, so what's the first tip?
Tip 1 is to be specific about mood. Use strong, descriptive words. Peaceful, energetic, mysterious. This forces you to get clear internally.
Instead of just being vague.
Right. If you just say a scene, your brain stays vague. But if you say a lonely, mist-shrouded, ancient, powerful feeling, now you're defining an emotional landscape. And that is a foundational exercise in art therapy.
Giving form to feelings that don't have a form.
Exactly.
Okay, then there's the antidote to digital burnout, which I love. Don't overthink it. Trust your first instinct.
In a world that rewards us for being so meticulous and highly curated, especially online, that's a radical instruction.
It really is.
It tells you to bypass the analytical, self-judging part of your brain and just rely on your gut.
And that speed, that trust in your instinct is protected by the third tip, which is to experiment freely.
And the source explicitly says there's no cost to explore. This is critical for the dopamine detox part of their claim.
How so?
Well, the dopamine addiction you get from passive scrolling is fueled by unpredictable, high-volume stuff. You never know what's next. Here, the dopamine is earned, it's focused, and it's tied directly to intentional experimentation and production, not consumption.
So you're building a portfolio that shows your journey. It's about the process.
It's about the process over one single perfect product. Yes.
And we should say this isn't just for beginners. The sources are pretty clear that experienced creatives can use this when they hit a wall.
Oh, for sure. It's a way to spark new ideas and break blocks instantly.
It's like a rapid idea generator.
A low-stakes idea generator. When you're stuck in a creative rut, you're usually trapped in your own familiar ways of thinking.
Your own patterns.
Exactly. So putting in some random mood-based words into a system like this can instantly give you a visual prompt that breaks that pattern. It offers a kind of lateral inspiration that you just can't get from a mood board or a stock image search. It's like an expressive spark plug.
Okay, let's make that transition now. Let's go to part 2, because this is where we get into the real brain science. We need to analyze the neuroscience behind this 5-minute promise, the mechanics of flow state, and the impact on dopamine and cortisol.
This is the analytical heart of the matter, really. The platform is cloning more than just pretty pictures. It's promising a predictable shift in your brain chemistry. And the crucial insight is that when you're focused on choosing a color, or a mood, or a texture, your brain shifts from what the sources call panic mode to flow state.
And we should probably define those terms in a cognitive context. Let's start with panic mode. It sounds dramatic, but it's a real state, isn't it? Especially now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Panic mode is basically your brain operating from the reactive limbic system, the amygdala specifically. And it's fueled by cortisol, the stress hormone.
So it's that fight or flight feeling.
It's a state of heightened vigilance.
Yeah.
It's caused by information overload, constant decision-making, what to click, what to read, and that fear of missing out, FOMO. This state is overwhelming, it's anxious, and it actually inhibits deep productive thought because your brain is just constantly primed for the next immediate reaction.
And flow state, on the other hand, is that deep immersion we all want. The state where time just disappears and you're totally absorbed. So how does a 5-minute activity like this bridge that huge physiological gap?
Well, the claim is that this guided creativity acts as a kind of cognitive circuit breaker. When you force your brain to engage in an intentional low-stakes choice, that will choose the color yellow and the mood mysterious, you're activating your prefrontal cortex,
The thinking part of the brain.
the part responsible for higher order thinking, for planning, for focused attention. And this intentional cognitive act overrides the reactive cortisol-fueled response from the limbic system.
So that's the switch.
That is the critical switch.
Yeah.
Your brain moves from passively reacting to the world to actively and mindfully creating something in it.
So the mindfulness here isn't about clearing your mind like in meditation. It's active mindfulness. You're intentionally filling your mind with structured, expressive thoughts.
Precisely. The act of defining your vision, choosing colors, setting a mood, it's a form of structured internal focus. It forces all that external noise to just fade away. And the source claims this focused, intentional shift, even if it's just for 5 minutes, can lower cortisol and boost dopamine.
So it reduces the stress chemical and increases the reward chemical.
Yes, because the low-stakes, high-reward environment prevents that anxiety spike, that's the cortisol, and the almost immediate, beautiful result triggers the reward chemical, the dopamine. But it's not through passive consumption. It's through earned achievement.
Let's dig into that dopamine mechanism a bit more because that ties right into the dopamine detox claim.
It does.
Passive digital use, scrolling, gives you a quick, unpredictable dopamine hit. You don't know if the next scroll will be interesting, so you keep scrolling. And that's the addictive loop that leads to burnout.
The contrast is key here. That passive scrolling loop is fundamentally unpredictable, so over time it's exhausting. Museit is promoting a switch to active earned dopamine.
So you're in control.
You are. You input intention, which is focused effort, and you receive a high-quality aesthetic output, which is the immediate reward or success. This dopamine hit is tied to productive action and self-efficacy, that feeling of, I made this.
It reinforces a positive behavior pattern, not an addictive reactive one.
And the result isn't just an image. The source is very explicit about this. It says it's generating peace of mind. The image is just the tangible proof that you successfully shifted your cognitive state.
This brings us right into the art therapy angle. We're moving from the neuroscience to the psychological application. We know art therapy is often about nonverbal expression of, complex or overwhelming emotions. How does a digital tool do that?
It basically digitizes the essential benefit of art therapy, which is providing a low-friction outlet for that nonverbal expression. People who are trying to process difficult memories or anxiety or trauma, they often find that words aren't enough, or that trying to use words is just overwhelming.
Right.
Museit bypasses that language barrier. If you're struggling with a turbulent feeling, you don't have to articulate the trauma itself. You can channel that turbulence into descriptive choices. A chaotic color scheme, a mysterious mood, a distorted subject.
So the platform holds your hand.
It holds your hand and allows you to naturally learn the language of art styles, lighting, emotion, just by playing and expressing your internal state through these visual parameters.
So it's the therapeutic act of taking internal chaos and imposing some kind of external aesthetic order on it, even if that order is abstract.
That's it, exactly. You are turning your anxiety into something coherent and often beautiful in just 5 minutes.
And that must be so empowering.
The act of creation, of turning a subjective feeling into an objective image, is profoundly therapeutic. It gives you agency. It gives you control over something that felt overwhelming. It's about finding an outlet for your soul's voice. The source material puts it beautifully. Creativity is intelligence having fun. But more importantly, creativity is the soul finding its voice.
It frames those 5 minutes not as a quick fix, but as a really necessary and rapid way to express yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to address the technical part. The guarantee that makes this whole therapeutic experience possible. We said the output has to be perfect or the flow state breaks. This is where the source mentions this fascinating detail about the platform's engine.
And this is the necessary technical infrastructure that backs up the psychological promise. Because if the output was, grainy or full of artifacts, or if it just didn't match your simple input, the whole self-affirmation loop would just collapse.
You'd go right back to blaming yourself.
You'd blame the tool, maybe, but ultimately you'd revert to thinking, see, I told you I wasn't an artist. The quality has to be guaranteed.
So the sources mention the art is powered by nano-banana technology, which is a memorable name. We have to present it as the factual name from the source. But what does nano-banana technology actually mean functionally?
Well, the name is memorable, but it describes the function, which is doing heavy lifting with incredible precision and speed. Functionally, this implies a highly sophisticated, optimized AI system. It's likely a combination of powerful generative models, maybe using a fast style transfer architecture, along with some advanced diffusion models.
The key is optimization then.
The key is optimization. They must have engineered these models to guarantee rapid, high-resolution, artifact-free output. And it has to be capable of interpreting vague emotional intent, like mysterious or peaceful, and translating that into concrete visual parameters.
So specific color palettes, lighting,
I
textures.
love it.
So the Nano Banana engine is the silent partner in your self-affirmation. You focus 100% on the expressive input, the mood, and the color, and the technology guarantees 100% of the technical execution.
That's the perfect way to phrase it. That symbiotic relationship is what makes the 5-minute flow state so reliable and so rewarding. It removes technical perfection as a barrier to expressive success.
Museit wants you to obsess over the inspiration, and they obsess over the quality so you don't have to.
Without that guaranteed quality, the novice would leave frustrated. With it, they leave feeling affirmed.
Okay, we've covered the mechanics, the psychology, the tech. Let's shift now to application. Part 3, from anxiety to application. So you spend 5 minutes channeling your anxiety into a piece of art. What's the utility? What can you do with it beyond personal healing? Can this art actually be useful, especially if you're not a conventional creative professional?
Utility is a crucial piece of this for a modern audience.
Yeah.
We're all dealing with time poverty. So if the output has a practical application, then those 5 minutes shift from being just a mental reset to being a productive investment.
And the sources list, what, 15 specific ways people are using Museit?
Yeah, which really validates this idea that you can turn anxiety into art that actually serves a purpose.
Okay, let's break these down. We'll start with the commercial and professional uses. How can this rapid flow state creation translate directly into business value?
For a professional who's dealing with a creative block or a tight deadline, a 5-minute mental reset that also produces a usable asset, that's a game changer. Take advertising campaigns. Instead of spending hours sourcing stock photos or concept art, you can instantly generate eye-catching visuals that are tailored exactly to the emotional tone of your campaign.
So if you need something to feel mysterious and ancient, you just type that in.
And you generate it instantly. It drastically cuts down the time from concept to visualization.
We also see uses for branding and logos and just general business branding for marketing materials.
Absolutely. Think about a small business or an entrepreneur struggling to find a unique visual identity. A simple mood-based prompt can generate dozens of unique design concepts in minutes.
So it lets them explore their aesthetic without the huge cost of a design agency.
Or the time commitment. It empowers the visionary who just might lack the technical skill to execute that vision.
The sources also highlight smaller, everyday professional touches, like using custom art for email headers and signatures.
That's a subtle use, but it's powerful. It elevates your mundane communication. In a sea of generic emails, a signature or a header graphic that's unique, that's expressive, that's tailored to your personal aesthetic, it makes that communication memorable and professional.
It's using that flow state creation to inject some personality into a really routine task.
Exactly.
We also see utility for bigger projects like generating event posters and flyers.
Yeah, imagine you're not a designer, but you're tasked with making a poster for a conference on sustainability. And it needs to feel earthy, calm, and forward-looking.
A tough brief.
Tough brief if you're starting from scratch. But here, you just input those mood terms, and within minutes, you have a high-quality visual concept ready to go.
And what about product mock-ups?
Same principle. That speed allows a business to visualize their products in all these different artistic styles or environments really quickly. It speeds up the whole decision-making process for packaging or promotional images.
Okay, let's look at the second major category. Personal, wellness, and creative enhancement uses. This is where that core art therapy mission becomes functional.
This category directly translates that emotional input back into a personal benefit. And high on the list is wellness art, creating calming, peaceful artwork, specifically for meditation spaces or yoga studios or just general wellness practices.
That completes the feedback loop we were talking about earlier.
It does.
You intentionally focus on generating a feeling of peace as your input.
Right.
And the output is a high-quality visual of that piece, which you can then use to literally decorate and reinforce a calm environment.
It's a powerful cycle of intentional emotional regulation.
And then there are the more personalized applications, like creating custom gifts by transforming photos into artwork.
This allows people to do some really heartfelt, customized gift giving. turning a simple snapshot into a watercolor portrait or an oil painting without needing years of artistic training. The effort is focused on the sentiment, not the skill.
And for people in the narrative arts, there's the incredible benefit for creative writing inspiration.
Oh, this is a huge one for breaking through imaginative barriers. A novelist is struggling to visualize a complex world or a key character.
They're stuck.
They're stuck. So they can input the key descriptive words of their setting. A dense, bioluminescent jungle, alien, misty, with deep sapphire lighting, and instantly get a powerful, evocative visual prompt.
And that prompt gives them something concrete to work with.
It provides the concrete form needed to fuel the written narrative. It helps circumvent the visual blockage that so often stalls storytelling. It becomes a dialogue between written and visual imagination.
And we shouldn't overlook the practical home uses, designing book covers and illustrations, or generating home decor ideas, visualizing art for your walls before you commit to buying something.
That functionality minimizes consumer anxiety. Choosing art for your home is often intimidating and expensive. For sure. So by using the platform to generate a piece that perfectly matches your desired mood and style and color palette, you gain so much clarity on your own aesthetic preferences. Whether you print that art or just use it as a guide for buying something else, the risk of getting it wrong is just drastically reduced.
The sources really emphasize that across all these applications, the main instruction is to experiment freely, reinforcing that creativity has no limits.
And that emphasis on freedom is the antidote to the very anxiety the platform was designed to fight in the first place. If the only consequence of trying something is rapid, high-quality success, then you are fundamentally encouraged to explore, to try different styles, and to expand your own creative self-definition.
The platform gives you the safety net.
And you provide the courage to try.
Okay, we have covered a huge amount of ground here, from the psychological struggle of modern life to the tech to the practical uses. Let's bring this all together. Let's synthesize this into our key takeaways for the listener.
I think our deep dive really reveals that Museit is positioning itself as, well, not just a tool. It's a methodological shortcut to mental wellness. Through structured creation, it's offering a streamlined, fear-free path to engage your brain in a reliable flow state through these targeted 5-minute creative bursts.
And the whole 5-step process, being focused on mood and color, is engineered to dismantle those psychological barriers, the ones that lead to creative block and anxiety.
Right. And the claims are rooted in a very clear cognitive shift. By forcing your brain to switch from passively consuming stuff, that panic mode, to actively defining an intentional output, the platform claims tangible, rapid psychological benefits.
Lowered cortisol, the stress hormone,
and a focused, earned boost of dopamine, the reward chemical, which is a key part of that dopamine detox idea.
And crucially, the technology, the nano banana power, that's the hidden guarantee.
It's the necessary guarantee. It ensures the output is gallery-ready, so your flow state isn't broken by technical disappointment. The underlying powerful message for you, the consumer, is this. Creativity doesn't require mastery. It just requires focused intent. The platform's whole existence is built on the belief that you have the vision and that 5 minutes of focused input is a powerful enough mental reset to fight the anxiety and distractions of a noisy world.
And this brings us to our final thought. A provocative question for you, the listener, to take with you. We've spent this whole deep dive analyzing the claim that you can find peace of mind and get into a flow state just by focusing on choosing a color or a mood for 5 minutes.
We've established that this simple, guided act is designed to shift your brain out of that reactive, anxious panic mode and into a structured, rewarding state of focused creativity.